And break. Hey guys, 1 Samuel 25 through 27. Let's get it. Today's going to be a productive day in the Lord, guys. Time is short, guys. If you have a problem with procrastination or laziness, God is a God who redeems time, guys. If you have lost time to sin, willful sin in your life, if you've been to prison, if you've struggled with addiction and you wasted those minutes and hours or days, even weeks and months in addiction, guys, and willful sin, I want to tell you something. God is a God who redeems our time. It says that he will restore the lost years that the locust and the cankerworm have devoured. Okay? That the lost years of crops, right? When the crops don't produce as a result of willful sin and a result of curses. He will bless, guys. He's a multiplier. Anytime you see addition or multiplication, you see God at work. Anytime you see subtraction and division, you see Satan at work. Guys, if you have lost time today for something, maybe you feel like, oh, I can't get on this phone call with this person because they're just such a distraction. Oh, I'm not gonna answer that phone call. Oh, I'm not gonna respond to those text messages, those emails. You know what I mean? If you feel like you've been putting things off and putting people off, this happened to me this morning. I rejected a phone call from a guy that was calling me from Africa, and I was in the middle of doing something, and I didn't want to lose the time that I had. Guys, that can make you feel like a little bit burdened and overwhelmed whenever you lose time to something. Maybe you slept in one day. Maybe you feel like you need to do work, but at the same time you need to clean the house. Guys, do what you got to do and know and trust in God that he's a redeemer of your time. He can bless and multiply. If you want to, if you feel like you need to go against your flesh and like your flesh wants to get to work, but you go, know what? I need to clean my space and my environment. And so I'm going to put the work to the side for a minute, and I'm going to clean, and I'm going to put on worship music or my Bible app, and I'm going to worship God. And then you go to your work, but you feel like, oh, I don't have enough time now. Like I only have a few hours to get all this work done. Guys, God will multiply your profits, your efforts, the work of your hands, okay? Sometimes in our brains, we don't need to do as much as we think we need to do, and we need to make space for the Lord. This is a great example. The best example in the Bible is the story of Mary and Martha, right? Martha was so busy preparing all the things, and Mary was just sitting at the feet of Jesus on the couch with him, just sitting by him, and Martha said, hey, Jesus, like, tell Mary to come help me. I got all this work. You got all this work to do for all these people that are coming over. You're here. You know, we need to make all this food. We got to do all these preparations. And he said, yes, both are needed. Both are needed. The work is needing to be done. But also what also is needed is what Mary's doing. Just sitting here with me. Just sitting here with me, worshiping me, basking in my presence. And guess what he said? He said, Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken from her. Okay, what does that mean? That means that God will, if you spend time with God, that's the premise, the main point of my story here, is spend time in the presence of God, guys, and he will restore that lost time in your mind that you thought you needed to put towards work, okay? And when you do work with all your heart. Put your whole heart and mind into it. Your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Use it as a worship of God. You know, it says worship God with all your mind, heart, soul, and strength. Mark 12:30 is where it says that. You even in your work, guys, even in your cleaning, you can apply your whole heart into what you're doing. Just for context sake, and just for reference, look at the green. Mark 12:30. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all. Oh, it's playing it. It went away because it was playing it. Okay, go back to the green. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. Heart, soul, mind, strength. And the second command is great. Is like this: love your neighbor as yourself. There's no commandment greater than these. That's because if you're loving, that's cool. That's because if you love your neighbor as yourself, you're wanting for them what you want for yourself. That means you're not going to steal from them. You're not going to wrong them because you wouldn't want somebody to do that to you, right? That's why it's a summary of the law. You're not going to kill them because you don't want somebody to kill you. You're not going to talk crap about them and gossip behind their back because you wouldn't want somebody to do that to you. That would hurt your feelings, right? We all want to be validated and seen as important and have favor in the eyes of God and men. If you start treating people with favor and you start treating people with honor, people will start treating you that way. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Go above and beyond and solve problems for people today. Right? Bless people. Give people free stuff, man. Like, be a good steward. Be shrewd. Like, at the same time, make a lot of money. Charge good money for what you do. And then, why do I like to charge good money for my artwork, my murals that I paint? Go look up my stuff online if you want. It's at White Horse Artistry. My wife is an online fitness coach. If you're a woman listening to this, it's at Sarah May Schofield is her Instagram. I want y'all, M-A-E, not M-A-Y. I want y'all to go look up our stuff. Guys, we charge good money so that we can be a blessing. We can give away to people, money away to people. We can help people out. We can go buy somebody lunch. We can go buy things for people, right? Go fix something for your neighbor. Be aggressive. Be bold today. Time is short. We only have so much time before we die. You can actually calculate. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 46 years old. I just turned 46 in November. 47, 48 for 950. There's 4 years until I'm 50. Let's just say I live to be 100. So, that means I have 46 years left to 100. Is that right? 44. 44 years. I have 44 years left till I'm 8.
46, baby. You have.
I'm not good at math.
54 years.
I have 54 years. I'm an art brain, not a math brain. Get off my case. Cut me some slack. Okay? 54 years. Guys, let's get into the reading. I felt like that 8-minute pep talk was for you, and it was for me.
I got something out of it.
That's what God's saying to me today. My wife got something out of it right here. You want to see our secret handshake? Let me show y'all.
Then it won't be a secret. They can't see this last part. Oh, they can see you.
Ha! 1 Samuel 25 through 27. God, open our eyes. Open our spiritual ears. Open our hearts, God. Let us apply what we learn and read to the work of our hands today, God. Make our feet go. God, we make our plans, but you order our steps. God, lead our feet into the right place at the right time to meet the right people who you want us to minister to today. Come on, Jesus. We don't have so much time left on this earth, God. Use us. Use us, God. We're here. We're available. We're at your side, God. And you know what that means? The carpenter is going to use whatever tool is closest to him. The carpenter may own 5 hammers. One could be in the truck. One could be in the tool shed. One could be on this side of the job. But one hammer is on the ladder, and then the final hammer is in the carpenter's tool belt on his side. Which hammer is the carpenter going to use? He's going to use the hammer that's closest to him. The one that's most easily accessible, right there on his hip. He's going to pull out that hammer and start driving nails. He's not going to go back home to his tool shed. God, in the same way, use us today, God. We want to be close to you. God, we want to be near to you. We want to be available to you. We want to be present in your presence, God. We're positioned in our hearts and our hands and our minds and our lives to be used by you, Jesus. That's all we want. We want your favor, God. We want your blessing. We want you to use us in the lives of others. You know why, God? Because you put in our hearts for us to have a purpose, for us to have an identity in you. We want to be special, God. We want to be used and have that a godly purpose in our life. Because if we don't have that, we just feel like a little bump on a log. We feel like a bird that's in a cage, God. We feel like a fish out of water. God, you created us to have purpose in people's lives, God. And so I pray that as we read your Bible, we read your words, that you would give us godly wisdom and discernment so that we can know how to minister to people. We need prophetic words of knowledge, of warning, of instruction for our friends and ourselves and our brothers and our sisters and our parents and our enemies, God. We need your wisdom in this life, God. And so we ask you for that now. As we read your word, let it stick to us like peanut butter. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen.
What are you doing up there, cutie?
Eating.
Look at my wife's up in our little loft area. Wave. And look at Van Gogh. He's such a cute little baby boy. He's just a baby. He's looking at the camera. All right, guys. First Samuel, chapter 25. Bible reading through in a year. Today's 25 through 27. That's the microwave, not a bomb. David, Nabal, and Abigail. Now, Samuel died, and all Israel assembled and mourned for him, and they buried him at his home in Ramah. Then David moved down into the desert of Paran. A certain man who lived in Moan, had a property there at Carmel. Well, he was very wealthy. He had 1,000 goats and 3,000 sheep, which he sheared in Carmel. His name was Nabal, and his wife's name was Abigail. She was very intelligent and beautiful, like Sarah, my wife. But her husband was surly and mean in his dealings. He was a Calebite. What does surly mean, guys? S-U-R-L-Y. Can somebody type in the comments, look that up, and type the definition of surly, S-U-R-L-Y?
I think I kind of know what it means, but let me look it
Well, it
up.
says surly and mean in his dealings. So he was like real harsh and like, mean. He was real aggressive, kind of fierce. While David was in the wilderness, he heard that Nabal was shearing sheep. So he sent 10 young men and said to them, "Go up to Nabal at Carmel and greet him in my name. Say to him, 'Long life to you, good health to you and your household, and good health to all that is yours. Now, I hear that it is sheep shearing time. When your shepherds were with us, we did not mistreat them. And the whole time they were there at Carmel, nothing of yours was missing. Ask your own servants, and they will tell you. Therefore, be favorable towards my men, since we have come at a feast of time. Please give your servants and your son David whatever you can find for them.' When David's men arrived, they gave Nabal this message in David's name, and then they waited. Nabal answered David's servants, 'Who is this David? Who is this son of Jesse? Many servants are breaking away from their masters these days. Why should I take my bread and water and the meat that I have slaughtered from my shearers and give it to men who are from who knows where?' David's men turned around and went back. When they arrived, they reported every word to David. David said to his men, 'Okay, each of you strap on your sword.' So they did, and David strapped on his sword as well. About 400 men went up with David, while 200 men stayed back with the supplies. One of the servants told Abigail, Nabal's wife, 'David sent messengers from the wilderness to give our master his greetings. But he,' this is her husband, right? Abigail's husband, Nabal. 'But he has hurled insults at them. Yet these men were very good to us. They didn't mistreat us. And the whole time we were out in our fields near them, nothing came up missing.' So you're supposed to help your neighbor is the point of the story. Not just, even if they're a stranger to you, you need to help your neighbors. Night and day, they were a wall around us the whole time we were herding our sheep near them. Now, think it over, see what you can do. Because disaster is hanging over our master and his whole household. He is such a wicked man that no one can even talk to him. Okay, so that's what surly means, man. This guy was wicked, dude. This guy was mean in his dealings. That's why he had a whole bunch of stuff. Baby, you so excited? My wife's doing a little happy dance because we got breakfast in Jesus. We got breakfast in the Bible. BYOB. Bring your own Bible. Bring your own breakfast, son. All right.
And butter spray.
And butter spray? What's up? Low calorie, low carb.
Do this.
Abigail acted quickly. So this woman is shrewd and wise and discerning, right? She's fixing to put out the freaking fire before it becomes a torch flame burning down the whole forest, right? Because she can tell that her husband ticked off David. And David was actually protecting these people and his fighting men. So all he asked for was some food. She acted quickly and took 200 loaves of bread, 2 skins of wine, 5 dressed sheep, 5 seahs of roasted grain, and 100 cakes of raisin, and 200 cakes of pressed figs, and loaded them all up onto donkeys. Wow, this woman did a lot of work. Then she told her servants, "Go on ahead of me, I'll follow you." But she did not tell her husband Nabal what she was doing. So she's going to bless David and these guys and his men behind her husband's back with his own wealth. As she came riding her donkey into a mountain ravine, there was David and his men descending down towards her, and she met with them. David had just said, "It's been useless all my watching over this fellow's property in the wilderness so that nothing of his was missing. He has paid me back evil for my good. May God deal with David, with me, ever so severely, if by morning I leave alive 1 male of all who belong to him." Whoa. That's pretty treacherous, man. David's talking about killing this dude's men and possessions and stuff for being so evil. When Abigail saw David, she quickly got off her donkey and bowed down before David with her face to the ground. And she fell at his feet, and she said, "Pardon your servant, my lord, and let me speak to you. Hear what your servant has to say. Please, pay no attention, my lord, to that wicked man Nabal." Dude, she's saying that about her own husband to another man. She didn't even say my husband. She just said that wicked man Nabal. He is just like his name. His name means a fool, and folly goes with him. As for me, your servant, I did not see the men my lord had sent. And now, my lord, as surely as the Lord your God lives, and as you live, since the Lord has kept you from bloodshed and avenging yourself with your own hands, may your enemies and all who are intent on harming you, my lord, be like Nabal. And let this gift I brought you be given to the men who follow you. So she's trying to give him what he originally asked for, right? Please forgive your servant's presumptions. The Lord your God will certainly make a lasting dynasty for my lord, because you fight the Lord's battles. Dude, there's a nugget. Do you want to make a lasting dynasty for your family line, people? Then fight the Lord's battles on the earth. Dude, that is a freaking nugget, dude. Are you fighting your own battles? Are you fighting worthless battles, guys? Are you going to work every day and clocking in at a company to solve problems for another man, which is a good thing, to work hard, right? To earn a paycheck for your family? Good, that's a good thing, right? I'm not being hyperbolic. But are you only doing that? Okay? Are you only doing that? Are you only solving worldly problems for a worldly company that does good things? I'm not knocking it. We need it, right? Just like Martha was needed. But dude, don't just do that. Only fight the Lord's battles and you'll leave a lasting dynasty. So good. So good. I want a lasting dynasty for my family, God. I pray that you would show me what battles to fight for you. I pray that you would give me battles to fight today against forces of evil and darkness in the world. It might be just praying. It might be making a DM to somebody online who's messed up in their head. It may be discipling someone who is hungry for the Lord. It may be serving my wife by cooking and cleaning something today for her, by giving her a massage. It might be fighting the Lord's battles.
That one, the
could
massage
be
one.
can be the last one. Fighting the Lord's battle can simply be taking care of what He's given you. Look at this beautiful, beautiful puppy that He gave me. You know, am I being good to this puppy today? Am I buying him little fun bones and giving him food and water? Am I taking him out for runs? You know, am I giving him affection? This dog has a soul. Think about that, guys. You have things around you that God has given you. But are you even taking notice that He gave them to you? Do you know that you're a steward of what God has given you? This dog has a soul. How do I know that? I could show you in the Bible. I'll just tell you. It's in Job chapter 12, I believe. It's 12:10 maybe. It says, "In God's hands are the souls of every living creature." What the crap? That means your dog and your kitten that God has given you has a soul that you are an overseer of. This is so important. This is so important. You're fighting the Lord's battle simply by taking care of the soul of your pet, the soul of your wife, the soul of your husband, the soul of your children, the souls of your friends, right? The souls of your coworkers, of your boss, of your customers. See? So like you can go to work. You can be called to go to work by vocation. You don't have to go be a preacher to fight the Lord's battles, right? But as you go to work, you should be focusing not just on making money for your boss in your company. You should also be focused on fighting the Lord's battles every day, everywhere you go. Be looking for battles to fight for the Lord. And that, like, love people, dude. That's what that means. Like, love people. Love your customers. Warn them. Don't just be worried about closing a sale. Worry about selling them on the gospel of Jesus Christ, that they might go to heaven instead of hell, guys. Even though someone is pursuing you to take your life, the life of my Lord will be bound securely in the bundle of the living by the Lord your God. But the lives of your enemies He will hurl away as from the pocket of a sling. When the Lord has fulfilled for my Lord every good thing He has promised concerning Him and has appointed you ruler over Israel," she knew He was going to be king, "my Lord will not have on His conscience the staggering burden of needless bloodshed or having avenged Himself." So she's saying, you're going to be king one day. Don't kill Nabal and wipe him out and kill his whole household, because then you'll have bloodshed on your consciousness and on your hands. And actually, David did write in the Psalms one time. He said, "God, forgive me and cleanse me and heal me from the guilt of bloodshed," because David had killed a bunch of people, including Uriah the Hittite, Bathsheba's husband. When the Lord has fulfilled for my Lord every good thing He has promised concerning Him and has appointed Him ruler over Israel, my Lord will not have on His conscience the staggering burden of needless bloodshed. Wow. David said to Abigail, "Praise be to the Lord, the God of Israel, who has sent you today to meet me. You be blessed for your good judgment and discernment and wisdom, for keeping me from bloodshed this day and from avenging myself with my own hands. Otherwise, as surely as the Lord, the God of Israel lives, who has kept me from harming you, if you had not come quickly to meet me, not one male belonging to Nabal would have been left alive by daybreak." Whoa. Whoa. David was on a bloodbath war rampage of murder of Nabal's family because Nabal was a wicked man. Dude, you fight the Lord's battles, dude. Go out. Somebody could be doing something crazy today. Somebody could be bent on suicide today. You need to make a phone call. You need to text message somebody that you know. Only you can do it. I can't do it. I don't know the people you know, right? God's given you connections with people that I don't have, that other people don't have. Only you have that connection. Reach out to somebody today. Text somebody today, man. Then David accepted from her hand what she had brought him and said, "Go home in peace. I have heard your words and granted your request." When Abigail went to Nabal, he was in the house holding a banquet like that of a king. He was high in spirits and very, very drunk on wine. So she told him nothing at all until daybreak. Then in the morning, when Nabal was sober, his wife told him all these things, and his heart failed him, and he became like a stone. About 10 days later, the Lord struck Nabal, and he died. Dude, so God ended up avenging himself on this guy. David didn't have to do it. God will fight your battles. God will fight your battles. God will take out your enemies. You don't have to do it yourself. Just trust in the Lord.
But you gotta ask him for help.
You got to ask him for help, and you got to give mercy. Like David relented and he gave mercy to this household because this woman came. You know what I mean? When David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, "Praise be to the Lord who has upheld my cause against Nabal for treating me with contempt. He has kept his servant from doing wrong." God kept David from doing wrong. And has brought Nabal's wrongdoing down on his own head. See, wrongdoing will be brought down on their own head a lot of times. Then David sent word to Abigail, and he said, "Will you become my wife, since her husband died?" His servants went to Carmel and said to Abigail, he probably liked her courage and her bravery, right? Because she went out to meet him and she was wise, and she kept David from killing all those people, man. You know what I mean? So he could see that in her, that she was wise and not a coward. You know what I'm saying? She bowed down with her face to the ground and said, "I am your servant. I am ready to serve you and wash the feet of your servants." Whoa. Strong woman, like my wife. Abigail quickly got on a donkey, and attended by her 5 female servants, went with David's messengers, and she became his wife. David also married Ahinoam of Jezreel, and they both were his wives. So they believed in polygamy. And Saul had given his daughter Michal, David's wife, to Paltiel, son of Laish, who was from Galim. Okay, times were different back then. God was allowing polytheism to increase the population on the earth. Different culture, different time. That changed. Jesus said man should only be married to one wife and should not divorce. That was allowed during the Mosaic Law. Different dispensation, different time. God was doing something different. He's sovereign. He can do that. But we're not supposed to have multiple wives today, as y'all know. And we're not supposed to divorce. Okay, I thought I'd throw that in there. Guys, we're at the 28-minute mark. We've only gotten 1 Samuel 25. I'm going to conclude this video. I'm going to eat breakfast, and then I'm going to pick up with chapters 26 and 27 after I eat. I'll splice the videos together. Okay, guys. Peace. 1 Samuel 26.
Or I can do them right when we get back from the gym. Why don't we do that?
Okay.
That way I don't feel rushed.
Alright, so David again spares Saul's life. Remember the first time, guys, was the other day when he spared Saul's life in the cave? Y'all remember that? Now, the Zippites went to Saul at Gibeah and said, "Is this not David hiding on the hill of Hakil, which faces Jeshim?" So Saul went down to the desert of Zip, Zip, with his 3,000 select Israelite troops to search there for David. Saul made his camp beside the road on the hill of Hakila, facing Jeshim. But David stayed in the wilderness. When he saw that Saul had followed him there, he sent out scouts and learned that Saul had definitely arrived. Then David sent out and went to the place where Saul had camped. When he saw where Saul and Abner, son of Ner, the commander of the army, had lain down, Saul was laying inside the camp, with the army encamped around him. David then asked Ahimelech the Hittite and Abishai, son of Zeruiah, Joab's brother, "Who will go down into the camp with me to Saul?" "I will go with you," said Abishai. So David and Abishai went to the army by night, and there was Saul, lying asleep inside the camp with his spear stuck in the ground near his head. Abner and the soldiers were lying all around him. Abishai said to David, Wow, today God has delivered your enemy into your hands. Let me go over and pin him to the ground with one thrust of my spear. I won't have to strike him twice. But David said to Abishai, don't kill him. Who can lay a hand on the Lord's anointed and be guiltless? As surely as the Lord lives, he said, the Lord himself will strike him, or his time will come and he'll die, or he will go into battle and perish, or something like that. But the Lord forbids that you should lay your hand on the Lord's anointed. Now get the spear and water jug that are near his head, and let's go. So David took the spear and water jug near Saul's head, and they left. No one saw or knew about it, nor did anyone wake up. They were all sleeping because the Lord had put them into a deep sleep. Then David crossed over to the other side and stood on top of the hill some distance away. There was a wide space between them, and he called out to the army and to Abner, son of Ner. He said, aren't you going to answer me, Abner? Abner replied, who are you who calls to the king? And David had said, you're a man, aren't you? And who is like you in Israel? Why didn't you then guard the Lord the king last night? Someone came to destroy the king, the Lord, your Lord the king. What you have done is not good. As surely as the Lord lives, you and your men must be put to death and die, because you did not guard your master, the Lord's anointed. Look around you. Where are the king's spear and water jug that were right near his head? Saul recognized David's voice, and he said, is that your voice, David, my son? David replied, yes, it is, my lord the king. And he added, why is my lord pursuing his servant? What have I done? What am I wrong and what am I guilty for? Let the Lord the king listen to his servant's words. If the Lord has incited you against me, then may he accept an offering. If, however, people have done it, may they be cursed before the Lord. They have driven me today from my share in the Lord's inheritance and have said, go and serve other gods. Now, do not let my blood fall to the ground far from the presence of the Lord. The king of Israel has come out to look for a flea, as one hunts a partridge in the mountains. And so then Saul said to David, you're right, I have sinned. Come back, David, my son, because you considered my life precious today and did not kill me. I will not try to harm you again. Surely I have acted like a fool and have been terribly wrong. Here is the king's spear, David answered. Let one of your young men come over and get it. The Lord rewards everyone for their righteousness and faithfulness. The Lord delivered you into my hands today, but I would not lay my hand on the Lord's anointed. As surely as I valued your life today, so may the Lord value my life and deliver me from all my troubles. Then Saul said to David, may you be blessed, David, my son. You will do great things and surely triumph. So David went on his way, and Saul returned home. All right, guys, last chapter, chapter 27. David among the Philistines. After this, David thought to himself, one of these days I will be destroyed by the hand of Saul. The best thing I can do is escape to the land of the Philistines. Then Saul will give up searching for me anywhere in Israel, and I will slip out of his hands. So David and the 600 men that were with him left over to Achish, son of Maok, king of Gath. David and his men settled in Gath with Achish. Each man had his family with him. And David had two wives, Ahinoam of Jezreel and Abigail of Carmel, the widow of Nabal. When Saul was told that David had fled to Gath, he no longer searched for him. Then David said to Achish, if I have found favor in your eyes, let a place be assigned to me in one of the country towns that I may live there. Why should your servant live in the royal city with you? So on that day, Achish gave him Ziklag, and it has belonged to the kings of Judah ever since. David lived in Philistine territory for a year and 4 months. Now David and his men went up and raided the Gershites, the Gizrites, and the Amalekites. From the ancient times, these people had lived in the land extending to Shur and Egypt. Whenever David attacked an area, he did not leave a man or woman alive, but he took sheep and cattle, donkeys, camels, and clothes. Then he returned to Achish. When Achish asked, "Where did you go out raiding today?" David would say, "Against the Negev or Judah, or against the Negev and Jerahmeel, or against the Negev and the Kenites." He did not leave a man or woman alive to be brought to Gath, for he thought, "They might inform on us and say, 'This is what David has done.'" And such was his practice as long as he lived in Philistine territory. Achish trusted David and said to himself, "He has become so obnoxious to the people, his own people, the Israelites, he will be my servant for life." So David is a freaking like mercenary, dude. He went into enemy's territory. First of all, it's odd. Him and King Saul's relationship is so odd, right? Saul says, "Okay, I'm not going to kill him," and then he tries to kill him. He goes out hunting for him. David spares his life, and when they meet, it's like, David's like, "Who am I? I'm just a flea. Why are you chasing after me?" And Saul is always like, "Is that your voice, David, my son? You are more righteous than I. I'll stop trying to kill you." And then it happens again and again. And every time they have this talk like that. But they never fully embrace and hug. That's David sent someone to come get the spear. They never talk directly face to face. They just talk from a distance, right? And then David goes into hiding in enemy territory over there with the Muslims, the Philistines, the Palestinians. He goes outside of the Israel territory, and he goes and he attacks these other clans of Philistines, but he's telling the king, the Philistine king, that he's attacking his own people, the Israelites. So, it's just crazy, man. David's life was about hiding and murder and writing the Psalms, right? And seeking God, man. It was a lot different time back then, you know? For whatever reason, man, God was allowing people groups to get wiped out like that. He wants us to pray for our enemies today and love our enemies. David among the Philistines. But David thought to himself, okay, I already read that. Okay, so that's 27. We're done. Okay. Tomorrow's reading is going to be on Psalm 17, 35, 54, 63. Let's go ahead and read the God shot, guys, and then we'll conclude for the day. You just reading the Bible with Dad, baby? You just reading the Bible with Dad? You reading the Bible? You and Mama? Saul has acknowledged that David is the next king, so the timing is right for Samuel to die, which is how our reading opened today. Meanwhile, David and his crew are protecting the flocks of a rich man named Nabal while he's out of town. They ask Nabal for provisions to keep the feast, but he refuses and even insults David, so they plan to attack his estate and take what he refused to give. David makes a vow to kill all the males in his house. It's interesting to see how different David's response to Nabal is from his response to Saul. Isn't that true? See, because David knew that God put Saul in his position as the leader. And so there's a law that says don't touch or speak evil of the Lord's anointed. God put him there. God's going to work it all out. This is why I'd never like to criticize Joe Biden and make fun of him whenever he was struggling with his memory and stuff and his speech, right? When he would fall down, you got to be very careful for attacking the Lord's anointed. Sure, you don't obey when an evil leader tells you to sin, but you don't need to slander people and dishonor people. You know what I'm saying? Let God deal with them. That's what David did with Saul. Abigail gets food and wine and takes it to David without mentioning it to her husband. When she drops off the supplies, she humbles herself and accepts blame for everything that's gone wrong, even though it's not her fault. Then this diffuses David's anger, and he ends up liking her and marrying her. She reasons with him, wishes him well, and indicates that she knows both David's past and future. Unlike Nabal, who insulted David, she references the way he killed Goliath with a slingshot and seems to know that he'll be Israel's next king. She believes and supports in him, and it calms David down, so he relents. This means he's breaking his vow to God, but we've learned by now that it's better to break a vow than to take a life. David realizes what a blessing she's been to him, and God sent her at just the right time before he killed a bunch of innocent men in an act of revenge. Then, when Abigail tells Nabal about it, he physically responds with either a heart attack or a stroke or a coma, but then God kills him. David goes back and marries her, and she continues to show him respect. She's leaving her wealthy estate behind to marry a man who moves around in the desert. At the moment, this isn't a lifestyle upgrade. Prior to all this, David's first marriage to Michal ended without his consent. Saul gave her to another man when he thought David betrayed him. We'll find out later that David was not okay with that. Actually, David rejected that girl, and so Saul gave her to someone else. If you remember, David was the one that said, "Who am I that I should be the king's son-in-law?" And he wouldn't marry her. That's why she was given away to somebody else. David goes back to Zippah, and the locals tattle on him to Saul again. Despite the conversations they had outside the cave bathroom, Saul keeps hunting down David. See? I was just saying that earlier in the video. It says, despite the conversation they had outside the cave bathroom, when David could have killed Saul, Saul keeps hunting him down. And David and one of his men, Abishai, sneak into Saul's camp while he's sleeping, just like the men in the cave. Abishai encourages David to kill Saul then and there. It would be quick and easy, but David refused to do it. So God's job for him. Instead, he takes Saul's spear and water jug, and he's safe distance away. He calls out to make his point. He drives it home by saying, "If God sent you here, I'll receive this. But if you're here because of the words of men, and you're fearing man to try to kill me who are lying about me, then knock it off. Those men are cursed. They even say I should worship gods besides Yahweh." Saul gets it, and he blesses David. But this makes David wonder if there will ever be a day that he doesn't have to run for his life. Last time they talked, he thought he was in the clear, but it came unhinged again. Prolonged trials will always lead to despair and sin if we fail to trust in God, and that's the path David heads down. He begins to think Saul will prevail, so he leaves Israel and he goes back to King Achish in Philistia for asylum. So the Palestinians. He asks Achish to live in the land and turns his attention to raiding little towns on the edge of Philistia. Like the Israelites should have done a long time ago, David is making strides to fulfill God's command. But instead of slaughtering the spoils, he brings them back to Achish and lies about their origin. He's pretending his raids are on Israel to earn Achish's trust. This is a holy war, but it's still not a good look for David. Beautiful works, and today's God shot says, God works beautifully through Abigail. He grants her wisdom to know how to de-escalate the situation that's about to get out of control. It takes real trust in God to enter into chaos and create peace. Wow. Scripture marks her as a woman of discernment, which is God-given. Proverbs 16:21 says, "The wise of heart are called discerning, and sweetness of speech increases persuasiveness." The wise in heart also know that joy isn't found in getting our own way. It's found in yielding to His way, because He is where the joy is. Y'all didn't hear my wife, but she said it. Okay, guys. Hope y'all have a great day. Always remember, guys, that the wise of heart are called discerning, and sweetness of speech increases persuasiveness. Y'all have a great, great, great Saturday. Live life to the fullest. Ready, break.